Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the 22nd episode of Coffee and Chel. I am your host, Keso Paguni. I am joined by No Sleeves 12. And we typically go what's happening in the life of Keso Paguni, but No Sleeves. I feel like it's been an interesting week for you. What's been going on?
I mean, dude, it's been a couple of days, eh? I guess this is why
Yeah,
yeah, I think I need to spend the majority of the time here as, yeah,
well, like
definitely.
you typically do, but yeah,
I mean,
I'm just
yeah, it's
kidding.
true. I mean, yeah, more so. So, I mean, we had some changes in our game, and people were not thrilled with only
Yeah.
me. So I think we need to take some time and just finally put this story to bed. So, all right, let's jump into it. So last Wednesday, was it Wednesday? I think it was
Yeah, it was
Wednesday.
last Wednesday.
All
Yeah.
right, yeah, last Wednesday. Black Wednesday. Like you know what I mean? Like so the AP changes happened and yeah, we had been discussed by EA that they wanted to make some changes and they changed a lot of the AAA prices and it obviously was a big change to the game in terms of like, all sorts of cards, a lot of their values were changed. And a lot of people were not thrilled about it, specifically players that are free to play, which I totally understand. And I took all of the heat, which is fine. I mean, I think that I've said this on stream a bunch of times that, I want to be the spotlight. I think that, if you want to be a full-time content creator, you obviously want to be in the spotlight. So sometimes you got to take the bad with the good. And I definitely took the bad. Because no help from EA, no real help from anyone else. I just sat there for a day, and whether it be Reddit or Facebook, it was just all no sleeves. And I think I just want to talk about some of the quick points that I just want to kind of again like put this issue to bed. First, let's start with the process, my man, because you were
Yeah.
involved in it. And I just want to make everyone clear about how it happened because everyone just assumes that I have total control over EA NHL.
Yeah,
And
I was a co-conspirator for
yeah,
sure.
I wish, honestly, I wish I had that much power over EA because I'd hopefully make a better game. But that being said, EA approached us and said that they want to make some balancing. They want to balance the game in terms of the AP abilities, and they want to do it early enough so that it's not just throwing it in at the end of the year. And obviously that does impact some players. The free to play guys that don't, they've got to really be careful with who they invest in. And we all said, okay, so they wanted our feedback. It wasn't like we went to them and said, hey, you need to balance the game. EA came to us and said, we want your feedback. We are going to here's a list of all of the changes. And you used the list in your video, actually, with what they want to make the changes to in terms of the AP balance. So all of the game changers that were on the meeting, we gave our feedback and we left the call, all in agreement that this is, the appropriate balancing for the game. If you
Yeah.
remove the aspect of them changing it and not communicating, and I think this goes back to what we say all the time, the communication with EA when it comes to Hockey Ultimate Team is just completely gone. It is not there. It is something that needs to be addressed, and again, it kind of goes back to something that we always say, it's just not, this does not seem important to EA NHL. And okay, that's the case. They needed to make sure that the community was aware they were going to make adjustments. And then what ended up happening was just a flurry of horrible coincidences in terms of my channel and just me personally. So I just want to address those real quick because again, I'm not going to please everybody and I don't want to please everyone because, it is what it is and everyone's going to have a lot of different opinions. But so about a few days prior, I made a video about my top 5 changes and AP changes that I would make to balance the game, and they were bringing down 1T to 8. Another one was stick 'em up. Shut down. Sorry, what am I calling stick 'em up? Okay. I know it's the new meta. No, so shut down up to 6. And the big one was post to post. And in that video, I actually said it should be 10. But EA did not listen, even though I am the puppet master. They did not listen, and they made it obviously. They made those adjustments and brought post to post up to 8. So here's the issue: I make this video, and I think that's something that you guys have got to remember. There is not a lot of content in this game. It is very difficult for me to make a video every single day about this game that you get to a point where you've just got to kind of make up your own stuff. So I decided to make, AP changes were being discussed on social media and on Twitch a lot. And it was something that
We
kept
had literally
Yeah.
this was a topic on here
Yeah.
probably 5 times because it's like how do you have a podcast every single week about EA Sports NHL
Exactly.
Hut? And like you had asked me if you know, wanted new AP cost for this
Yeah.
ability, what would it be? We've had this discussion a lot.
Exactly. So I have that, and I make a video. Nothing to do with the changes that were gonna come. We hadn't even had the talk yet, and you know, that comes out right. And then unfortunately, in my stream, they make the changes, and I go, oh, they listened to me about the shutdown being 6, and I think that's what really set a lot of people off because again, from an outsider point of view, that makes them look like I'm the one that said 6, when in reality, we all agreed that 6 is the appropriate price, in our opinion. Not obviously, in a perfect world, we would get a beta in HUT and we would be
Yeah.
able to test it. MLB got a beta to test their game, Diamond Dynasty. We would get a beta to test. The problem is they release X factors and abilities, and then we have no idea what is going to be the meta. You usually don't find that out for a couple weeks. But with no beta, we have no idea. So they release all these X factors and all the ability costs, and some of them were just ridiculous. And obviously, they waited too long to do the balancing. I do need to state this. There were numbers backing up the amount of usage of these X factors. You know, so they definitely saw the.
Oh, was. Yeah, I was actually surprised by the data they had.
It was pretty interesting. And like so, shutdown was, I think it was something like 37% of players
Yeah.
have that activated, like on cards that have it available. Like
Yeah.
it was staggering. Anyways, it made sense. If you say, hey, let's start the year over again, the changes that were made, I think we're in agreement that are pretty set across the board because now you have to make some decisions. It's not so.
Yeah, but so I think all the changes were good, right?
Some could have
And I
gone even
think
more, in my opinion.
yeah, so whenever they came to us and were like, "Hey, we want to put this in the game like in a week." Like we had like a week notice, but we didn't see the abilities or the changes like that week before, but like, "Hey, we're thinking about putting it in the next week." I went back to look at the hut like the blog post whenever the game came out, and my thinking was that there was something in there saying like, "Hey, these ability points might change throughout the year." There wasn't. It was just that the AP may be raised. So I kind of like wish going back that maybe there was that wording in that initial thing, like, hey, these might be adjusted as the year goes on. I thought it was assumed. I thought it was assumed from the consumer, like, hey, you know, there might be some balancing at some point, as we've seen with other things, but I don't know.
I think that okay. So now you know that comes out and everything. I'm gonna give you my background on this now because I have never had anything like that happen to me before. Guys, I know that you know the people and the haters think that I have this giant ego. I really don't feel that I still have this spotlight, but clearly I do. Obviously, after what happened, because I got about 40 threads calling me garbage, that I'm trash, that I'm ruining the entire game for everyone. Somebody commented that we should all unsubscribe from his YouTube channel and that they hope my wife has a good job because his career is over. It was blasphemy that, you know, I got not so much that I got that much hate because again, when you line up everything, it does look like I was, you know, pulling the strings. And again, this is just a bad string of coincidences. And I had no way to defend myself and explain to everyone. So I made a thread, man. That I don't know if you saw this. I made a thread that was like, if you want to talk some smack or you have an issue with me, you post it in here and I will reply to everyone. I must have replied to like 150 comments. I think by the end of it, I had over 300.
Yeah.
So I tried to reply to every single one that I was obviously people were upset. And like I said, it's not like we were fighting that you need to balance the game now. They came to us and said we are going to make a balancing. Here are what we are. Here is the list that we're going to go with. What do you guys think? And all the game changers when we left the call were like, this is what we're going to do. Okay. And you know, this just goes back that they need to communicate. And what was even worse is the entire day and night, man. It was only me. Like it was only me getting the flaming, you know? So I didn't, you know, I didn't speak ill of anyone else. You know, EA didn't come and say, hey, this didn't happen, or you know, this isn't right. Or I think Clappy eventually made a statement the next day or something like that. But it was rough, and then it just spawned all these other threads and
EA Hawk stepped in, I think, in one of the
a
threads,
little bit,
mentioning
yeah.
something, yeah.
It is just, I'd never seen it like that, and I had no preparation for it. I also deleted that video that night of like my top 5 things because it was just spinning a narrative that I had no idea how to control that. It was probably a very bad move for me to delete that video, because it makes me look like I did this. But I have to. I mean, guys, I'm being honest with you. It was purely coincidence, and you know, we have been in discussions about AP changes on this podcast, and I didn't change anything. I don't back down from the suggestions I gave in terms of AP costs. I think those are the ones that I stand by, and for the most part, I've seen feedback that people do enjoy them. It feels a little more fresh. But yeah, it looked awful, and going forward, I'm gonna be a little more careful about what I say about gameplay specifically, because there is no way to please everyone with the gameplay in this game. And we're going to talk about gameplay later on today, as an aside, because Keso has some thoughts about it that we want to get into. But when it comes to gameplay, I'm always going to give my opinion. And for the most, I want to, selfishly, guys, I want the game to be as good as possible. The better the game is, the better my views and numbers are. So I need you guys to realize this. I have no, if I say, hey, do this, and it ruins the game, that isn't good. Like, that is not. My wife was getting texts from her friend because her friend is a big NHL guy. We don't really talk ever, but he was like, "Is Cam all right?" Because he was seeing all these, like, my dad has a buddy who, like, plays a lot of NHL. My dad the other day calls me and goes, "Hey, everything okay? So you had a bad stream or something." They were saying it's like, that's embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't care if you think I'm a bad creator. That's fine. I can take it, right? Like, I have no problem. If you have ever been in my channel, one of my favorite things to do is absolutely demolish trolls. Like, it is enjoyable. But I did the worst thing I could do, and I read it all, man. And it was, dude, it was heavy. Like, it was heavy.
After a couple of days, so that happened on Wednesday night. I was in class. So then, like, I think after class, I don't have my phone out in class. I try to be respectful to the professor,
Attaboy.
And I ended up reading some of it in the car, and then I got home, I was reading it. Then the next night, it was like a good 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, it was full thing. Bashing.
So it was like Friday night, I go to my wife, I'm like, listen, my phone's in my room. Don't let me grab my phone. I don't want to look at that thing for, like, at least until tomorrow, because it was just nonstop negativity.
It was just super unhealthy.
It wasn't even direct, it wasn't directed at me really, but like, you see a friend going through that, it's like annoying. And then I get angry because I'm reading things, and some guys like, these game changers just want to ruin the game, and all they do is they're bootlickers, the EA, which is and it's like you're reading so many false things.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm thinking, like, no reasonable person could listen to me or listen to you and think these things. But, like, 5 people say it on Reddit, then, like, 10 people read that and they assume it's true, and then another 20, and then 40, and then it's just like, it's nonstop, and they're so wrong. That's the thing.
That's the thing. That's what kills me.
It's so wrong. Yeah. It's like, I just don't understand how they could have that opinion. Right? They're just looking to direct their anger.
Exactly.
Really, that's what it is.
Exactly. So it was pretty tough. I'm not going to lie, but I sat there and took it. I didn't ask for anyone's pity. The amount of people that reached out to me, though, like, that made me humbled, because I maybe didn't think I had this big a spotlight as I had. My community was unbelievable. The amount of DMs I got from, all sorts of people were just wild. So if you guys DM me and I didn't reply to you, I saw it. I apologize. But yeah, it was a heavy couple days, man. I'd never been through anything like that. And, I don't want to go through anything like that again. And I have a really bad sour taste with EA, obviously. I mean, I got messages from devs being like, dude, we're like this. Sorry, man. Like, because it was like, there was no separation between EA and me. Like, it was me and EA. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was wild. But nonetheless, one last thing, because the other thing that was kind of spawning this I have total control over EA is that all these Sharks Master Set players. Yeah. Because we had gotten Burns and Carlson, right, in style icons. And I lost my mind because, again, not many people are Sharks fans. I just recorded a podcast for the Sharks event, so that's why I'm in my my jersey. But we have gotten, as a Sharks fan, to all 6 Sharks fans out there listening to this, we have gotten Burns and Carlson 3 straight years, and it was just like I know we're not going to get very many because the team is going through a bad spot. So it was like, man, like, come on, I want to use some of my guys, and then we get Dan Boyle, which was like, oh, cool, and then we get Hurdle, and it's like, bro, like, it looks awful, and you see like the coincidences just lining up. It's like, dude, he says that he wants more Sharks and he gets one every single event, and now I have the impression that anything I say EA will do, and it's just not the case. And the last thing the thing I wanted to say about these master items is that they are chosen months in advance, guys.
Well, I think you can see it with these ones too, right?
Yeah.
Like these.
It made sense.
The event, the moments, right?
It made sense.
Yeah. They were non-meta players. The artwork was good. This is something that was clearly done 3 to 6 months in advance.
Yeah, and it just lined up that, like, this happens to be, I'm bitching about something, and it just lined up. And, so for anyone that I pissed off about free-to-play, I understand. Like, it sucks. EA does not communicate anything when they're going to change anything. It's like they're like, they won't really care. And that's unfortunate because there's been a lot of that, and something that I'm going to try and hold them accountable for my time as a game changer, if I don't end up getting kicked or something, is making them actually communicate, because I think it's absolute piss poor. And I obviously have a reason to be upset now, especially with EA, because I mean it was almost 48 hours and I just got demolished by something they did. But again, I wanted the spotlight, so I don't want anyone's pity. I need to explain that, and now it's time to move on because we're over that. I think
what it's time to move on to. We have to discuss the AP changes.
Absolutely.
From the podcast standpoint, right? So let's talk about those some more.
Yeah. All right. So let's. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think? So when they happened, I was going through my team, and it was the first time in months that it felt like I got to make some decisions. Like, it was kind of fun. Like, a little bit.
Yeah, I liked it just because whenever the update went in, I checked my team like later that night, and I saw a lot of people were tweeting like I have like 71 out of 45 AP. Mine was actually under because I wasn't using shutdown and I wasn't using like whatever else increased. So I'm like, oh, I have some extra points now. This is great. It's made me try some that I've typically haven't before.
Okay.
Close quarters is one of those. Have you used that one yet since the update?
I have been starting to. So I started using it on the new Patrick Kane. Also want to bring up something else about an event, so I hope I'm going to write it down right now so I remember it. Yeah, like I think that now when it comes to shutdown, it's funny because shutdown was clearly overpowered, and it still is. And don't get me wrong. But now it costing 6 obviously makes it a lot more difficult to do it on every single defenseman. But the thing is, you can put it on all 6 of your defensemen, but you're not going to get the offense boost as well, which was the problem, right? So now you've got to make some decisions because you can't just have all 6 of your defensemen, and you shouldn't. So I tried it without it, and if you have Burns and Hedman, man, like a lot of the people were like, oh, I wouldn't have made Burns, and it's like, he's a 6'5" defenseman with like 90 speed and 91 acceleration. Just because he doesn't have shutdown does not take away from the fact that he's a dominant player in Hockey Ultimate.
Yeah, there were people in my Discord. It was like, yeah, I made this guy. He's completely useless now. 94 overall card, 99 stick checking, 99 defensive awareness, good abilities. It's just 4 extra points.
Yeah, and but again, I understand the people I think that were the most upset weren't the completely free to play, but the ones where you have a god squad and you're free to play. Because those guys have to grind a lot. And I give total props because A, I don't know how you play the game that much. But props to you. But second, you've put in so much more time and no money that and I can understand that. That I can understand. So if you had a top 4 of Hedman, Burns, Carlo, and Bouwmeester, I can understand you being a little pissed off you're free to play because now you've Bouwmeester and Carlo specifically, they lose a little bit of that value because, without shutdown, they're slower, right? But, like Hedman and Burns are still Hedman and Burns, bro. Like,
yeah,
they're still
6'5", 6'6". Like,
nothing changes.
Still great cards.
And then the goaltending thing, man. Like, I think this is gonna bring into the gameplay discussion. So maybe,
because there is a lot in there.
Yeah, let's save that.
Let's save this. Yeah, what's that?
So Schneip, dude, I don't think they do anything. So, I don't think a lot of these do anything.
Can we do the gameplay discussion?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I've been playing, right? I played HUT Champs this weekend. I've tried out the new AP cost. I've tried a lot of these abilities. I don't think most of them do anything. I tried Schneip, right? Silver, it wasn't the gold ability. I don't notice a difference. The goaltending abilities are obviously there is a difference, right? Post to post cost 8. We know that there's an extra 2 to 3 saves a game.
Before you go any further, there is a difference between some of the abilities that have specific animations tied to them, and then the ones that are supposed to just influence the stats of them. Those are the ones that you can't really tell. Like, so for example, what you were talking about, like post to post, the goaltender will literally ram up against the post. Like, that is one you can visually see. Shock and awe, same thing. It's a laser beam, and then truculence, you break people in half, and they're out of the play. So I just wanted to talk about that because those ones you can see, and it causes the game to physically be different. So carry on about the other ones though, because the ones that stats.
So there's those ones, right, that are animation based, but then there's like quick draw too, which is clearly it gives you just a way better chance at winning the faceoff, especially if you tie up. So that's an ability that I think has an impact on the game. But then there's so many, like make it snappy, I don't think does much. Even wheels, I know a lot of people use
I don't
that.
notice it, man.
I don't think it's worth the cost. So like I've been trying to like trying out all the abilities, see which ones I actually think have an impact that are worth using, and then just skipping everything else. Like I stopped using shutdown. Um, Even the defensive ones, like the defensive shooting ones. Like I have a video out there that's one of my biggest videos with like the 1T and seeing eye. I think it's great, but I don't know if it's worth like the 8 to 9 points to
One
activate it.
so 1T is on all of my defensemen pretty much.
It is. I've been going back and forth on that.
I like so there is something about so man, this is so difficult to talk about given just what happened because if the game actually changes and anything that I say right now ends up being in the game or changed, then I'm absolutely screwed. So
Well, I think there's a difference between that and we've always been pretty transparent. Like so the same feedback I give on my stream, and I'm sure the same thing you say on your stream is what I tell the developers. I never do
yes.
like one or the other,
Yeah.
you know?
No, you're right.
So if it gets in the game, that's good in my opinion. But like, yeah, I get how it looks, right?
Let me ask you. So viewers, guys, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, in the comments section, if you have NHL 19 or 21 and 19, last time the game was good. No. If you have NHL 21 installed, I want you to go and I want you to look at your goaltender save percentage. And I brought this up on Twitter because you and me were talking about this. The game is just extremely low scoring, and a lot of people don't hate that. And I'm not saying I hate that, but I'm at a point now where in a video game, I want goals, whether it's against me or I score. I think it's just more exciting in a video game. Don't get me wrong, a 2-1 great defensive battle where like the guys are just absolutely killing themselves to get any opportunities. I understand that. But it's every game now because it has never been easier to play defense and utilize these goaltender abilities. And it's leading to a very boring game. Like it is just not.
Yes.
There is no creativity that you can do with one-on-one deeks, really, and utilize those to create time and space in the game. And so it is all based on you understanding the strategies and making quick passes and whatnot, which is fine and awesome. The problem is there's only 3 strategies in the entire game since NHL 04. So we're very limited in that. So, it's just difficult. Like, and again, we could talk about this for like hours, but yeah. Like,
Yeah. So like, no, so my issues with the gameplay, right? And give me a second here, because I do want to bring something up, because like, I like to be transparent on this the same way, if I was on my stream. So I sent this to a developer, some of my issues with gameplay in NHL 22. I broke it down into 4 parts. I was trying to come up with 5. But there's a lot of like small issues in the game, but I think these are like my 4 main ones, right?
I got asked on this as well.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I wonder, what similarities we have.
Actually,
So I have passing as one of them.
Okay, hang on one second. Actually, this is a great conversation because I forgot. So again, to be transparent, we got asked the 5 things that are we would consider an issue in the gameplay. So my number in no order. So I'm just gonna name. So you had passing, I had passing as well.
Yeah. So getting into the passing, right? So I don't mind the change in NHL 22 to the more, I guess, skill-based passing where you can miss a pass, right, if you don't aim it correctly. My issue is the pass is getting locked onto the wrong player. 2 players being in the same line of direction as a passer, but it goes to the far player instead of the guy in the middle, right? Passing to the blue line, your defenseman either just doesn't read the pass and it goes past them, or it's weird even if you aim it almost perfectly.
So before you go into that, I have a theory on that. If you make a backwards pass, like literally backwards, there is no tracking whatsoever. Meaning that it does not track the pass at all or the player at all you're passing back to. And what ends up happening is if you do not aim it precisely, it is out of the zone. And I don't know how many goals I've had where I've ended up having to defend and it ends up in my net. Not like a breakaway, but I mean, that's happened too. But how many times you've got, guys, let us know in the comment section. Maybe you guys are seeing something different. Again, like I'm not saying what is end all be all, but I was noticing that with passing is that whenever you go backwards, it is just completely no tracking at all, and it makes it very difficult.
Well, that's why you see, like, if you watch like somebody like Gren play, there's a lot of like just the tapping the sauce button instead of passing it. And that seems to work a little bit just because you don't have that like charge pass or the regular pass speed, and you just have the saucer pass. but I hate having to do workarounds in the game for something that should work automatically. My next one, and I'm assuming you might have this, is the stick physics.
The game feels extremely clunky, especially when players are close together. Often you will lose the puck or miss a pickup just because the players are close together. I think this is something to do with the stick physics.
Yes, yes. So I am sick, absolutely sick of. I don't mind the addition of it, similar to the passing, where if it worked good. But you have like sticks getting caught on a guy, and then instead of him just putting his stick back down when there's no obstruction, he skates with it behind him, and you can't pick it up, and it leads to a goal. It happens so many times during a game, and it's just, dude, it's ugly hockey. It's just ugly hockey all around.
I think another thing, I had one today, and if you were watching my stream, you'll know exactly what it was. I am not kidding.
I wasn't.
It was in overtime, okay? And it was a game I should have won. Another one where it's like 1-1. I have dominating shots time on attack, but it's 1-1. And our two guys are just going for this puck. Bro, there was 5 attempts to pick it up with their skate. And the first one...
Where was the puck?
Like in our feet, kind of. We were both going for it.
Like, no, we're on the ice, though.
Oh, in my zone.
Okay.
In the defensive zone. Like, so it was right beside my net. And
yes,
the first animation, my guy, instead of picking up with his stick, he tries to kick it to himself, and he kicks it up in the air like a soccer ball. And then it was literally 4 different swipes with their skate to pick up this puck by myself and the opponent, until the opponent finally got a sweep with their skate to get it to their stick, and he just walked in front of my net and scored. I was just baffled, because it's so clunky when you're near each other. It's like, the stick and physics was an awesome addition to the game. I think that it added a lot of opportunity to make the game a little bit more realistic. But yeah, they're clearly in its infancy, because when it hits something, it like just, there's no ability for it to actually get to the puck. I don't know, man. It's wild.
It feels like this game feels like a beta at times with some of these things. So the next one I had was goalies. And this might be, I guess, divisive. I'm not sure. I think goalies are too good in NHL 22. You have the added abilities, but not just that. They fix some things, right? So, like prior years, literally back to like NHL 08, the short side snipe, right? Like you skate in, cut to the middle, shoot glove side. That usually worked. Now it's like they save nearly everything, and there's, even if it's a good shot in the slot, there's like no clean snipes with like 95 plus shooting power. A lot of cross crease saves where it's like, not only, and my next thing was defense, right? So not only is defense easier to play, goalies just make way more saves now. So it's harder to get these nice scoring chances this year because the passing's worse, defense is easier, stick physics just aren't good. Then the goalies make the miraculous saves whenever you actually do make a good play that isn't broken up by the gameplay.
I mean, 100% agreement there. I don't have goaltenders on my list. I'm curious to see what one I do have that you don't. But it's funny, because I've said this a number of times, that this is the year that mimics the real thing more than any other NHL game we've had. It is sim-based. It feels the most like real hockey that we've had. And it's funny, point shots don't go... Like, I watched Junior Pens score 3 point shots in a game, but he took 40 shots. Yeah. And when you think about it, in the real game, how many D-to-D one-timers go in? Like, there just isn't very many. And part of me thinks...
There's not a lot, and a lot missed the net.
It feels like to me that... And the problem with D-to-D one-timers, and I know a lot of people will complain, like, oh, you just want to score D-to-D one-timers. Like, here's the thing. If everyone is using collapsing protect net, then you only have 1 or 2 options. One's go behind the net and get them to chase you, or you take the space available to you at the point. And if D-to-D one-timers are completely useless, which they are, like, let's be real here. I think that is one of the most evident goals that is no longer an option that we would have seen a ton more of in the prior game. And the reason why I forgot to mention this before, my Twitter poll, 1,500 votes, why I asked you guys to go check your old goaltender save percentage, because this year, 60% of that vote, over 1,500 people, had an over 80 save percentage. And why that is huge is because I would say 5% of the player base had an over 80 save percentage in NHL 21. And the only thing that has changed, or like all of the changes, have been on the defensive side of the game, right? Like this year, NHL 22 implemented turning on the pass intercepts back on. which I think was a good thing. I think 21 was a mess with that. Like, that was a joke. The goaltender abilities, and the defensive abilities are very, very good. Like, and then defense, just not the ability to score is just much more difficult, right? So it adds to a lot less goals, and I think that leads to a less exciting gameplay. But what was
Yeah, well, that was my last. So defense was my last one, right? I said that's too easy. I'm fine with the buff to interceptions, right? Like the intercept model last year was turned off. That's one that worked in my favor, so I preferred it off, but I'm fine with it being on for the game. It makes for a better game, I
it
think.
does, yes.
But poke checking's automatic still. It's it's the anybody can click in R1 and poke check you, right? Then there's the poke checks from behind. There's no speed differential, so it's like I use that 91 acceleration burns. I have no problem catching up to McDavid. I have no problem catching up to anybody with 98 speed, right? Because he has a long reach, but they don't burn anybody. Like the forwards don't burn defensemen for bad positioning. So like defense, it's all these because it's so easy. It's these 2-1, 3-2 games every single game, and that's regardless of skill level too. So like
Yeah, dude. Okay.
prior years, I was somebody that like even last year I probably averaged like 1 to 1.5 goals against. This year I'm averaging like a little over 1 goals against per game, but like my goals for went down by like 2.
Yeah, man. Like, it's wild. Unless I play like I think there's a. I don't know if this is the 4 consoles, man. So there's less people on each console. So like, but it feels like the majority of like the Division 2 and 3, and even a lot of the division, like the lower Division 1 guys, are just like not here. Like, it's like either you're playing someone who is exceptional, like can challenge for a club championship in GWC, or it's like you're getting matchmake glitched, where it's like a
Yeah,
mess.
and those are so boring, and I hate that it's in the
Same.
game because like there was a time today like after work I was like I want to get on and like play one game to try something out, and it's like because it was my first game I played against somebody with like a 90 overall like offense, so like his team's bad, and that's just not fun. Like I want to play against somebody good, but like all these changes too, everybody only plays the meta way, right? So behind the net everybody goes for the same 3 goals, and it doesn't lead to a fun experience online to me.
You
So
can't deke
something
one on one. Like, you
you
can't
can't deke 1-on-1. Well, here's the thing. Whenever Madden got realistic, and I'm saying that like I guess in jest, just
quotes.
because the
Yeah.
game still sucks. Um, it back on like the old gen, like PS2, even PS3 days, there was some variety in like play calling because like a lot of different things worked. Now in Madden, there's like 3 types of offenses that maybe work, but everybody does the same thing online because the game just kept getting dumbed down to this one thing that only works. And now I feel like we're seeing that with NHL. I don't know. Just a thought.
They added in a lot of things that make it look like the product that is on TV, and while that's awesome for a lot of people will like that, and I respect the people that like that because I understand that. I think I just like a more arcadey style of the game, like a little bit. Like, there's no excitement because you cannot do deeks that lead to a lot of one. And I know, like, we'll get a ton of comments like, "Oh, I deke all the time." It's like, I want to see you deke against Gren or someone good that is not like maybe Division 7 or something. Because other than Badge, I really don't know anyone that relies on 1v1 deeks in this game. And I'm not talking about the half spins. I'm talking like literal deking. There just
Yep.
isn't very many. And I want to mention Poe Checking. Shout out to Eki because he has been on this since the launch of the game. I am done with Poe checks from behind, man. If next year you're allowed to Poe check from behind and it is not an instant trip, I don't care where the stick goes if it doesn't touch the skates. It needs to be a penalty in this video game because the incidental contact that it causes is absurd. Like, it is.
Dude, it replicates the dead puck era of the NHL so perfectly, right?
Yeah.
Penalties aren't called. You just mug players basically with instead of cross checks, it's just poke checking, and it's 3 to 5 goals per game. It's the dead puck era of NHL 22.
And let us know if you disagree, guys. Like, again, these are just our personal feedback. They ask for ours, right? And when it comes to gameplay, it's very subjective. But I mean, we didn't even know that we had done this. So live, we're literally reading
That is kind of funny, right?
and our 5 are very similar.
So, you did mention like if people disagree, like I did tweet that out earlier, like the NHL is like the dead puck era for this video game. And a couple people did respond like, I'm glad like you have to work hard for your goals. And in my opinion, it's just artificially harder. Like, it's only harder because these other things are automatic and the game's uglier just to be uglier. Like, I'm still doing the same things for the goals that I did in the past 12 NHLs. The only difference is due to randomness, sometimes the goals don't go in.
Nope, exactly. And just to highlight some of the other things, because we had some discrepancies in that, player switching is in its worst state it's ever been.
Yeah.
I think, honest to God, I think that might be why this is the worst year for me. Like, I have struggled with it.
It's
I've mentioned
delayed. Do you ever get delays too?
Yeah.
Like, even
Yep.
if you're aiming correctly at a player,
Yeah, like
it'll go to everybody but that guy.
exactly. And I think that it needs, when it comes to controllers, very little we can change. Like, they're at kind of the peak with what they can do in terms of what we can do with the controller. But I think we need to go to a spot. You had mentioned this on in a call me and you were just talking earlier today. Holding down R2 on offense brings up all 4 buttons that you can then choose.
Nope,
And
this is what it will be. This is what it will be. EA Sports, please implement this. If this is one thing that we can wave our magic wand, if you have the puck, you hold in R2, right? It'll bring up L1 and R1. You could switch to the left winger or the right winger with L1 and R1. Triangle will always be the center. Square will always be the left defense, and circle will always be the right defense if you're holding in R2, right? I think that's perfect. I don't, in my mind, I can't see any issues with it. So if people are like, oh, what, this or this, only issue is if you're holding an R2, you can't, change your lines, right? But that's it. So only whenever you're holding an R2, it brings up those icons. You automatically switch to those players.
I think more importantly is if you hold down R2 without the puck and it brings up the players you can select. I think
that'd be great too.
Like,
yeah,
on the rush, like, could you imagine, like, you'd be able to defend the rush actually the way you want to,
and it would be the same buttons all the time, right?
Yeah.
So as long as like if you have like McDavid on the right wing, like no matter what, if I see McDavid on the ice and I want him, hold an R2, press circle. There's McDavid. I have him, and it'd be so great. It would add a skill gap to the game.
It would add a
right?
skill gap.
Not only that, you can just finally select who you want instead of flicking the right stick and getting the guy selling peanuts in row F. Like it's awful.
Dude, my last thing was lack of strategies. We need some new strategies. Like,
yeah, I didn't consider that under the gameplay, but I guess it is.
Yeah, like it's just very bland. I don't think we need custom plays because I think that would break the game. I would love if we could do that, but there's no way that I would trust EA to release custom plays because three weeks into the game, there would be a play that no one can stop. And that's all.
Messes with the AI,
and that would be the entire game. Every game you would play, it would be the same thing over and over again. And I wouldn't trust them to make a patch to actually fix it. So, those were the 5 things in gameplay that like I just see in terms of like the problems that I'm having with it. And I'm glad that ours were pretty similar. Like, that's kind of funny because again, we had no idea we were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about HUT content because there was quite a bit.
So there was quite a bit. So we'll start with Fridays, right?
Okay, let's start with Fridays.
So we had 3 new MSPs come out. We usually rank our MSPs.
Four.
We had 4?
Yeah. Bro.
We had 4? I'm so bad at this. We had 4. Wait. I have it pulled up. No, we had 3 new ones.
We had 4, brother.
We had the Sedines and Subban. Who was the other one?
Dude, Patrick Kane. It's shocking, a guy under 6 foot. You don't even remember. Yeah.
That is, right? So we have to rank these. Right, as we usually
I did.
do.
You know what's funny? I did all 8. So in my video today, I did all 8.
I forget these. We have to do these 4.
Okay, do these 4. That's fine. All right. So who did you pick as number 4?
1 through 4. It's all the same, man. They're all solid. They're all solid.
They're none of them you would make if you're trying to compete in GWC. No.
Yeah.
I will say this. I am done with recommending GWC based teams and cards because that just isn't fun. So what I did was my rankings. I was like, here are the meta cards that you guys would want if you're trying to, win as many games as possible. And then I did one, here are the cards that I think are the most fun. Subban looks like a lot of fun.
Number 1 for the most fun.
Yeah, he looks
because he's only 6 foot tall, but he has like truculence, right? Gold truculence. Which I think even with the increased cost of it going to 6 is still a really good,
again,
ability.
It wipes, if you get a clean hit, it wipes them out of the play. Like they have to crawl for a second. Like it is substantial.
And it saps their energy too, allegedly. Yeah. So no, that's a good card, but like they're all good cards. That's the thing at this point. Like any MSP, I think coming out now, it's like they're not going to be slower than 90 speed most likely. They're all going to have nearly max shooting, max hands, like all that stuff.
Yeah, I know I can give you 3 reasons today why they're all useless, and they're all like, they're just good, not great, because the team builders, bro.
Yeah, so those came out today, and I'm glad we're recording on Monday night,
Yeah,
guys.
this actually helps the first time. So, all right, awful choices in terms of the players chosen.
The player
It
names,
it
right?
is if
There's one
there's one that
solid
makes
choice.
sense. Yes, there's one. So Keith Primo, Mason Raymond, and Braden Coburn are your 98
Braden
overall team.
Coburn, yeah.
Here's the thing. They are the most. They are going to be Coburn and Primo are the most sought after cards basically for the rest of the game. You no matter what happens, there really isn't another center specifically that they could release that would make Keith Primo obsolete or enough of them.
Yeah.
Like he is what you want. If you are designing what you want in a hockey ultimate team center for NHL 22, that is it. He is 6'5" with 96 speed, 99 everything else, and like gold close quarters, quick draw, truculence. Like it's absurd. And I will say this: it sucks for guys that are free to play because you're never going to be able to afford these unless you listen to my videos and you were stocking up.
If they've been taking the untradeable rivals rewards
Maybe
throughout
if
the
you've
year,
been
they could
praying.
have made
But a holiday player, I would say almost no shot. Unless you've been preparing. And again, kudos to you guys if you have been. But if you haven't, it's over $1 million. It will cost you well over $1 million to make them now from scratch. So two things. One, Keith Primo makes sense, and I'm okay with that. But again, that's like the third flyer.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Sure. The Braden Coburn, like
It's a weird one. It's such a weird one, right?
it feels like to me this was a choice because they wanted to make a card for people that didn't have Hedman or like another way to get a card like Hedman because Team of the Year Hedman is far and away the best left-handed defenseman. Like
Yeah.
it really
And now Coburn's the best one.
and now Coburn is the best one. He is a set, but Hedman will be eventually as he gets a 99.
Yeah.
But so part of me thinks they did that. I don't know. And I don't want to criticize EA Hawk. This is his first year doing it and some of the we've been pretty hard on the player choices. Some of the player choices. Mason Raymond, like
funny thing about Mason Raymond, he is an OG NHL 09 legend. Okay, that card, and I think he was a Hut legend back in like the old Gen days too.
Really?
Because the Vancouver Canucks were always like a really good team because and I always thought the game's made in Vancouver. These guys are homers. Like Ryan Kessler could have a 20-goal year. He'd still be like a 92 overall.
Yep.
So Mason Raymond, like he always had like 94 speed. You'd always put him on the first line.
Yep.
So great choice for, if you're into that. Terrible choice overall because he was a third, fourth liner throughout his career.
I get that they want to represent some teams that maybe haven't gotten a lot of love. Like, does Vancouver have any Master Set players?
Is there a Pedersen this year?
There's Lindell. I mean, sorry, not Lindell. There's Linden.
There's Linden.
And Quinn Hughes at the beginning, the Halloween Quinn Hughes.
Yeah. So there's two.
There's two. Okay, never mind. There is two. Not like my Sharks. So there's
That
four.
Quinn Hughes wasn't really an MSP though.
That was 1
like
week.
A random.
It was 87. So
yeah.
Anyway, but it's like okay, they want to give the Vancouver Canucks one. It's like the 98. When you think about team builders, Primo, okay, there's an argument, but the other two, man, like no shot. Like
so,
Joe
I think
Thornton.
These were completely designed with, and to your point though, but like. So these were designed. It's like looking only at player builds, I think, right?
Same.
Like,
I think they were like, hey, what cards could we release that would excite the player base in terms of hockey ultimate team?
But there's other options, right? So like instead of Braden Coburn, I'm sure there's a 6'4", 6'5" left-handed defenseman somewhere in the alumni association. I'm sure there's a fast winger, like you said, Joe Thornton. I'm fine with the Keith Primo if that's the only center you want. Joe Thornton would have been perfect too, but they had other options.
Yeah, it's just like it's tough. I hope that there is too often. I would love to see the stats on this, and clearly they must have them. The amount of cards where it's like obviously everyone's going to use these, but like it's like the fan service where they give Brandstrom a card. Like how many Sens fans were excited to get Brandstrom and not Shabbat? I get the process behind it too, because in the background, I know they can't. They want to give MSPs to cards that don't really get a lot of live series upgrades, like Team of the Week and Prime Times. Brandstrom's obviously not going to get a lot, so you represent the Ottawa Senators by giving you a card that's high rated that you normally wouldn't get no matter what. But I'm kind of over that. I want the exciting players. I'm going to use this as an example, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but Drew Doughty is a perfect MSP. He does not have a master set player. He is a perfect and he is just on the cusp, like on the outside. Or sorry, X Factor. Sorry, he does not have an X Factor.
Yeah.
Right? So non-X Factor, good player outside of it. Those are the master sets that I want to see. Shabbat was another one. Brady Tkachuk is another one. I don't want to see just like the random dudes. Like,
yeah, but so they get into this cycle, and it's just because it's like it's the way it's always been done. So I think they have to continue where it's. Doughty might not be a good example, but we have the random MSPs, but they can't give MSPs to McDavid and Draisaitl and stuff like superstars of the league because they get 2 upgrades every month guaranteed.
They could to Nugent Hopkins.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. There's been like Brandstrom, like I remember whenever that came out, I talked on stream for 10 straight minutes about how much it doesn't impact me whatsoever, but I hated it just because I thought it was stupid.
Yeah, because like if the cards aren't going to be unbelievable, like so team builders came out and the Primo and Coburn were like, good lord, like these are the cards, bro. If you invested and you had team builders like 294s, you were like, thank God.
That's a tough choice.
That is amazing.
You only have to pick one.
We'll talk about that in a second. But like that was incredible. But the problem is, it's like if they aren't that good, like on next level, it's like the only way you're going to be excited is if they're good players.
Yeah.
No one is excited for Eric Brandstrom. Even Ottawa Senators fans probably aren't really excited for that Eric Brandstrom. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just that's all I'm trying to get at here. So Mason Raymond, that's a joke. Like, it honestly is. I don't know the process behind that. It's awful. There's no other way to say it. Maybe the build is cool, whatever. That's fine. But that would have been like they gave Andrew Cogliano one. Like that's, like that. That's what it feels like.
So do you think though? Because despite the public perception, we are pretty negative on EA throughout this. Would you say the majority of the people building the team builders don't really care about what players they are? They only care about if they're meta or not?
The players that can afford the team builders don't care about the cards that they are, for the most part.
Yeah.
The most part.
I don't care,
Same. And that's unfortunate because you should feel like, dude, when it was Iginla last year, Iginla was he is the reason why I'm no sleeves 12. Like Iginla I was ecstatic. And dude, Braden Coburn, bro.
Hey, he blocks shots. He's good.
Sick. Like,
does he have ice pack?
I don't know.
I don't know if he has ice pack.
Dude, what a great ability that one is. All right, so there's team builder. Oh, so let's talk about it. So let's say you only have 2. Easy choice for me. It is Key Primo, and I'll give the reason why that it's not a second thought. The only way I'm even slightly even considering Braden Coburn is if you do not have Victor Hedman.
That was my same exact thought.
But if you have Victor Hedman, that means that Braden Coburn's better, but that means you're putting $1 million card on the second pairing defense, and that's just absurd because no one on forward will be as good as Key Primo until it's July. Like, they're just simply because you can add attributes and 99s will come out the wazoo. You can't make 6'5". Like, you just can't. Yep. Like, unless Sundin gets a 99, Kopitar, those giant guys, like, it does not matter. So it's Primo, but he
has the perfect abilities.
Dude, it's wild, like, bro.
It's the best. Dude, it's one of the best cards they've ever released.
And they should. It should be. Think how hard that card is to get, especially now. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, that's over $1 million. And, it's going to be wild for sure. So, all right. So the last thing we want to talk about is a discussion. Oh, sorry. Loan cards real quick. Why did they get rid of loan cards?
Don't know, and that's something I brought up when I was streaming this weekend, I think.
I'll give you a reason why I'm bringing this up.
Okay. You have an answer. You asked the question with the answer in mind.
I'll give you an example. Sorry. Okay. I want to get this out, then I want to get your full answer. I wanted to try out Patrick Kane. I didn't have 600,000 coins. So I was like, okay, I'll just make them. And now when Team Builder came out, guess who's the first card that's got to go? It's Patrick Kane.
You know what's funny? I went through that same exact thing. Did you want to try him for the Gold Schneip and the 99 Excel? You know what? I was on stream this weekend. I was playing and I was like, yeah, that Patrick Kane card looks cool. I wish instead of even the loan, I was like, I wish I could pay to rent him for the weekend. Even if it was like 50 or 100K, like whatever it is. I want to try him out to see if I would be interested in buying him.
Dude, the only downfall to loan cards was that they didn't leave our collection. Just allow us
to
get rid of them.
So they can get rid of all of that, right? They don't need the loans, they don't need the rentals, whatever. What if in Hut Rush, they just have the
Oh,
active MSPs instead of.
dude.
So this only came up because Sunday night, I had 79 out of 80 seasonal winter collectibles. And I wanted to open up my icon choice pack because I'm looking for Lemieux. And 300,000 points in Hut Rush got me a collectible.
Oh, dude.
I didn't realize I could have done the daily challenge probably or something. I was like, I'll do Hut Rush. So I draft my team, right? It's 3-on-3 arcade. Every team gets Braden Holtby with gold post to post. And then I'm like, oh, I wonder what forwards we get. I got like a 77, like Tanner Pearson or something. I got the mascot at the center, and then I had like a random defenseman. So the gameplay of Hut Rush right there, I was like wanting to just punch my wall because like I'm using these 77 overall players and I'm going up against the goalie that's 96 overall with gold post to post. I'm thinking, how did they ever decide that this would be fun for gameplay? Like I'm supposed to get it, and I want to use good players in Hut Rush. Why can't I try out the active MSP?
Why is it always CHLers, man?
Why? Why is it who? That's not fun. It's supposed to be fun.
Dude, I don't know why Hut Rush isn't just gimmicky. Lead in.
Have you seen the meme of it though? The Hut Rush stuff?
No.
There was a post on Reddit. Shout out to Reddit. And also, okay, I'm going to talk about Reddit. For a
Dude,
second,
the
though.
memes about me were great.
So on Reddit, do you remember Colon68? He used to post the daily content.
Yes. Okay, yeah, I know what he did. Yeah.
Nice guy. But people started to like mock him or whatever because he was like very positive. So he started his own Reddit, and it like has this like NH_Ultimate team or whatever. So and it was like supposed to be a more fun community aimed at probably people our age or older. And the devs I think would go and post in there more because it wasn't as toxic.
Yeah.
So one day somebody responded about like they were complaining about Hut Rush, and somebody says, "Oh, that belongs to the Hut Rush guy." And I was like, "Oh, there's a Hut Rush guy." So now it's like that's not my job. That's the Hut Rush guy. Like talk to the Hut Rush guy. So apparently we have to talk to the Hut Rush guy about this. But yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Hut Rush.
Dude, like all I want to do is load into Hut Rush and give me 6 guys that all or 5 guys that all have truculence and 99 hitting, and just dude,
Fine.
yo, and let it be. All you've got to do is get 50 hits in a game, and that gives you.
Could you imagine the first to 50 hits or something?
Dude, like,
Dude,
no
Junior
penalties.
Penn
No
always
penalties.
wins.
No penalties.
Yeah.
Just like, bro, that's what Hut Rush should be. It just, and then like, dude, the next week could be 3-on-3 international ice. Everyone has 99 speed and wheels. Like,
Yep.
why, dude? And then one week it could be like, yo, you got to use Darren Pang. Like I just don't get
Yes.
why they don't make these gimmicky events. But Hut Rush would be perfect. You could do a gimmicky one and then literally the master set players so we could try them out. But I was just like, man, I used to hate loan cards for the sole purpose of them not leaving my collection. If they left my collection, I wouldn't mind it. But it just got annoying they were in there. So I'm like, dude, I don't even care about loans. But now I'm like, dude, it's going to cost me 400,000 coins to upgrade this card. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got to do it. Now I can't stand them. So now I'm just like, I'm literally actively about to tear down Patrick Kane, lose half
So
my
you didn't
cards.
like the card?
I hate Division 1. If you are good at this game, and I know the memes about me being shit, hilarious, because my Hut Champs runs include Geimer and Cam Zalid and Meso, and just like I get stream sniped relentlessly, and God forbid I only win 13 games because I have to play.
Well, it's funny because you're a Division 1 player, right? You're
Dude,
solid at the game.
dude,
No, listen, you're
yeah.
solid at the game, but you're a perfect guy for a player like me to stream snipe.
Yes,
You know?
because you would beat me 9 out of 10 times.
Yes,
Probably more than that, right? So like people don't see that. They just see the end result, guys. Like if I have 400 viewers and some creature living in his basement that just plays this game to a point at which I respect. Like it's just so much. You should be better than me. I do not play this game enough to be as good as those people, right? But everyone just assumes because I'm like, you know, like I have the biggest, you know, the most spotlight on me about Hut that like I'm supposed to be unbelievable. I'm not. Division 1 is hard to get into if you don't matchmake glitch. Like that's what blows my mind. Like it's hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if you use Patrick Kane type cards and you're good at this game and you're in Division 1, he's not fun. But you can't cycle the puck with him.
Because he just gets knocked off.
And
the
you
puck.
can't make deeks to get around players. So there's just no point to his card. Like there's not.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yo, he has a great shot. Tell me a player that if you get a one-timer from those hash marks in this game where it isn't a great shot.
Well, dude, honestly though, a lot of those shots never go in, and it's so frustrating. There's a lot of like good shots in real life. Like if it's a one-timer from the top of the circle, not next to the net, like top of the circle or something. Like if Matthews takes that shot in real life, that's a goal. If Ovechkin takes that shot in real life, that's a goal. This game, it doesn't go in. The goalies are perfect, right? It's either the only goals that go in are cross creases, the D to Ds where the goalies screen perfectly, a breakaway, or an ugly goal. There's no in between.
It's tough. It is tough.
It is. It is.
I will agree with that. All right, so
Yeah.
let's end on this. So NTQ in my Discord, I think, right?
Yes.
Usually we do a couple questions. This one is so cool that we're literally just gonna address this. So give me his question or his thing.
All right. I am pulling it up. Okay. Right now, am I still on with you?
Yep.
All right, perfect. I was making sure. All right, so boys, I know my previous statement was long-winded, whatever. So he has a scenario for us that if we want to discuss. So in this hypothetical, NTQ has bought 2K, and he's putting me and No Sleeves in charge of creating a new NHL series. Tell us what this game's going to be like, what modes are in it, what player builds will you have, what abilities will you have. You two have basically a blank slate to do whatever you want. There's no restrictions. We know what changes you'd make to EA, but what about if you were able to start from scratch? I'd love to hear your in-depth NHL video game ideas.
Okay. So this is way too hard to do. This would be a podcast in all itself. Do you want to just focus on HUT?
Dude, I wasn't. I was going from scratch here. You ready for it?
I mean, all
I
right.
had an idea here.
All right, lay it on me, yo. You take the
All
reins
right.
on this one. We're gonna be here a while, boys.
David Littman. I don't know what David Littman's up to these days. All
Okay.
right. So we have the blank slate. I'm bringing on David Littman as my video game producer. He was the lead producer on NHL 07, 08, 09, 10, the glory years. Okay. So immediately he's the top consultant. This might be surprising to you. I don't know if I'm having an ultimate team in the game. All right. I think if I'm starting out a hockey video game from scratch, I'm only focusing on gameplay and online only. It's going to be...
You're archaic. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here. Go ahead.
What? I'm archaic?
The reason... Okay, never mind. Go finish. I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So maybe a 1v1 mode. I think only team play. I want it basically a copy of Overwatch, where you hop into an online game with ranked matchmaking, 6v6, maybe 3v3 if necessary, but like 6v6 gameplay. Hopefully a bigger player base, and only focus on the gameplay itself and it fun. Online matchmaking's perfect. The rank system, you don't always have to find 6 people to play with. I think that would be the ideal. Year one, this is what I'm focusing on.
Why is there not like a rank for Matt? Like, I didn't even think
I
of that.
don't know, and I would play sixes if that was the case, if it was actually fun. Like NBA 2K, whenever they had their league and you had to qualify, you didn't play with your 4 other guys. You went into online ranked games and you played drop-ins, dude.
Dude, why is it not like that?
I don't know, and that's the barrier to entry for me in playing team play online. Is I'm not going to play sixes at 11 o'clock at night with
Dude,
whatever.
Yeah, dude. Like I can barely get one friend out of my group that has the same day off as me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just not feasible.
You're gonna find 5 other people that are always online at Tuesday night at 11 p.m.
I will. Okay, so the one thing I want to talk about, or one thing I want to say, I like your idea of focusing on gameplay, and I think the majority of the player base would, because a better gameplay experience is just more fun. I think that it needs to be peer to peer. We can agree on that. Peer to peer, no syncing issue and no syncing issues. Let's pretend we invest in cybersecurity. There's no syncing or any of that. Okay.
We have NASA.
We can put our backup goalie in. Okay. All right. So I think that is extremely important. I think that why I said it was archaic is if you look at MLB The Show, which is widely considered one of the best sports games, they don't give a shit about any other mode that isn't an Ultimate Team mode. And the reason why I think that Versus is... Dude, people don't realize that the only reason I got into HUT was because I wanted to be a full-time content creator. That was it. I only played Versus. Like, I didn't play HUT really until NHL 19. And... Well, 18. And, like... it's tough, man. Like I don't know. I mean, like, a Hockey Ultimate Team is something that, if done correctly, could be an amazing mode. Like, the reason why Versus died was because all you have is that leaderboard tactic, like that leaderboard tile in your rank to move up, but you don't get to customize your team, all of that kind of stuff. Like, I would love it if you could customize your jersey and customize your arena in Hockey Ultimate Team, like, just cosmetically. In a perfect world, we could draw the slate clean. Remember the old days in NHL, like 15 or 16, when you could choose like the OHL barn?
Yeah.
Dude, like,
Why was that taken out anyway?
I'm assuming syncing issues or some bullshit.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, something lame that they just don't want to acknowledge. And then, like, in terms of Hockey Ultimate Team, I would love live series upgrades. So, like, cards go up and down based on real life scenarios. Like, they're, like, what would, to be honest, I would just copy MLB.
Like, copy MLB. I would too, but you would have to have.
There'd be things that would not be able to be copied over. So, like, events.
What else would you? Okay, let's say you copy MLB. What are you adding to it?
Well, okay, so the only thing that you would have to adjust is, like, there's no comps, there's no hut champs in MLB. So hut champ stays, but it is an overall. So you can only enter into that if you have your team is under 89 overall. And backup goalie does not come into the equation. So you have to make some decisions. You can't just have stacked lineups all the way throughout, so that everyone just doesn't have the same cards and the same, whatever, right? The other thing that I would do is, again, so the base cards go up and down. I don't even know if that'd be a great thing, but I think it would add a little bit more complexity to the game. Dude, X Factors, I actually don't mind them in terms of the upgrades. Like, I think the abilities, there's too many abilities, and some of them are really useless. But what I would love is upgradable cards that you upgrade via experience by playing with them.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you unlock the tiers. And then what would be great is the prime times and other cards that come out. I use this as an example in a video today. Austin Matthews came out last week with a 95 prime time. Okay. And it had All Alone, which is an awful X Factor, but I'm using it as an example because he had a really awesome breakaway game-winning goal. Okay. What should happen is his X Factor, once you get it to 95, it has Shock and Awe, but you also unlock the ability to choose All Alone as its golden X Factor because he earned that in the real game. That'd be another change I'd make. Draft champs, I would bring back with guaranteed rewards that are awesome. Get rid of this garbage pack reward system that is just absolutely piss poor. I want guaranteed rewards, and we can go on and on for there, but like I think that essentially taking what MLB is and making some slight adjustments to it. The collections. If you collect all the Niagara Ice Dogs, give me a team builder Petrangelo or Dougie Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout
I don't
all
know why
modes.
that's not. Yeah, I know.
Why do we have bronze cards in the game? It is
You know what
just.
else I would do, Sleeves?
What's that?
I would hire, let's see, that J Fresh Hockey that does all the player cards on Twitter.
To
I
do
would
the
pay
ratings?
him, possibly the ratings. I'd pay him 40 to 50K a year as consultant. And like you mentioned with the live cards, right? Whatever algorithm he can get based off the prior week's stats for the advanced stats, right? So if like PK Subban's zone entry is like 100%, compared to his competition for the prior week, maybe his passing and maybe, whatever else goes up to like 98,
He gets
for that
send
week.
it.
Yeah, stuff like that, right? Like he can have that just automatically roll into the game based off their real life performance. Maybe somebody's finishing is like a 14% relative to the league, so their accuracy goes down by 5 to 10 points for the week. Stuff that's live that ties back to the real NHL. I think that'd be great.
I want a shootout mode with the players on my team that has a guaranteed reward where if you win 100 shootout games, you get a 90 or an 89 overall Merrick Malik or something like that. UC Jokinen, something like that makes sense.
UC Jokinen, great
yeah.
Pittsburgh Penguin right there.
Also unbelievable, in terms of the shootout. Like, that should be in the game. Moments. I want player locked moments. So a master set comes out. Braden Holtby. Okay, you get his 86 overall card. All right, you get it by buying it. That's expensive. You get his 86 overall card. That gets you in. You by just playing with him online, you get more points based on the saves that he makes. Okay, if he makes a lot of saves, he gets more points, right? But you get a big chunk by doing his 3 or 4 moments. And how you do his moments is you have to play as Braden Holtby in that challenge, goalie locked.
That'd be amazing,
dude. Tomas Hertl. You've scored 3 goals in a game. Score a between the legs goal over Marty Baron. Go. Your player locked
Yeah.
is Tomas Hertl. Go and do it. Like why is that not? Would that not be?
I never thought about having those because they used to have those NHL moments, right? I don't know if it was player locked back in the day.
It wasn't.
But
No.
but there's so many great like players that you can do like career moments for. Like
There should be like something to add in, to make it feel more rewarding about that player specifically. Like, dude? I didn't even look. Why is Zibanejad's moment? I don't remember it.
he had 5 goals that one game, I think. So
Okay,
I'm gonna
that's it.
assume it's that one.
I maybe that's it. I don't know. Like, right? Because I'm not a Ranger fan. I don't watch a lot of Zibanejad.
Yeah.
Right, but like Hurdle, I know and I remember, and a lot of the community or a lot of the NHL or hockey community remembers that. So like, just do that in the game, and you get 10,000 experience, which is like a full tier.
Yeah.
To give you some,
and I'm assuming the experience would be tiered
relative,
where it's like you earn more if it's like a Hut Champs game, you earn a little bit less if it's a Rivals game, less if it's offline, depending on the skill level you're playing against. So if you want to grind squad battles on rookie mode and get 100 goals, it's going to be like that episode of South Park, the World of Warcraft one.
Wolves?
Killing the warthogs.
The warthogs, I don't remember, yeah.
I forget, but yeah, it'd be like that, right? You got to play it a bunch, but
dude,
yeah, they're so against. Sorry, Henry's like winking in here. They're so against giving players free things, and I don't know why they just don't try something.
They do not want to give free things. The other thing I was thinking of in terms of moments or XP, imagine you got a 1.5 XP boost if you used their real line mates in real life.
Be pretty cool.
Like,
I mean, all these things were. It's like it never happened.
I know, it makes me sad. Like that just makes me sad.
Is.
I'm now sad.
Yeah. So hopefully this. Who is it again? NTQ.
Yeah.
I hope he comes into $1 billion.
Yeah, dude. We'll make you a banger hockey game, bro. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But all right, guys, we covered a broad range of topics there. I mean, I bitched about my week. We talked about gameplay being piss poor. We talked about the team builders and all of that. So, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's episode of Coffee and Chel. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Keso, any final words? Or are we good?
Dude, work sucks right now. That's all I gotta say, man. It's been so busy. I worked on Sunday. I worked today till like 5:30. I'm tired, man. It's too much.
Bro, same.
Yeah, I mean, you work 7 days a week, right?
Yeah, and I have to play this game. Ugh. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching or listening. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.